guys, I thought I'd bring you all along for another little experiment that I'm starting up. This time not to do with firewood, but with growth rates of our maple trees. So when we moved up here, one of our first reasons or thoughts of for projects was to get a little maple syrup operation running, and we're doing it on a very limited scale this spring and perhaps something bigger next spring. But in anticipation for that, we had a bunch of logging done on our property to clear out a lot of undesirable growth stock and trees that were sort of impinging on the maple trees that we wanted to put into production. And what we've wound up with are a lot of areas that have been thinned down fairly reasonably. Some areas that border on the thinned sections, and there's some sections that haven't been touched at all. There are some areas of the property that we just wanted to leave pristine. So what I wanted to do is go around, and I've got a whole bunch of trees marked here that we're tapping this year, and I'm going to go and number a bunch of the trees and pick ones of different diameters and measure the circumference of them, and then chart their progress over the course of the year. So this is early March, so it's kind of before the growth season has really gotten going. So I'll take a baseline circumference, and then midsummer in July I'll take another measurement, and then at the end of the growing season in November I'll take another measurement. And then what I'd like to do is compare and contrast the growth rates of the trees in the cleared out section versus the ones in the border sections versus the ones in the untouched or pristine sections. The hypothesis being, and the sort of common wisdom or whatever, is that the ones in the cleared section, having had their competition removed and allowed more sunlight, would be expected to grow a little bit faster, particularly the younger, smaller diameter ones. And I want to see if that holds true. So I want to compare the ones that we expect will be growing faster to ones that are on the border and ones that are in heavier shade, and see what difference things have made, and see if that kind of bears out what some of the published estimates or research has been on how thinning a forest should improve the growth rates of the existing growth stock. So I'll take you along, and we'll take a look at a few of the trees and a couple of the areas, and I'll show you my preliminary stuff on this video, and then I'll do a follow-up in midsummer and then in November, and hopefully we'll be able to draw a few conclusions and see the differences and see if things are progressing as we would hope. Come along. Okay, so we're in an area that's been thinned, and you can see the sap collecting buckets that are hanging. So what I'm going to do is just I don't know, maybe pick 20 trees of a variety of different diameters and record their circumference, and I'll number each tree so I'll be able to figure out which one is which. And since I've got a yellow ribbon around each tree, I'll just use a Sharpie and mark them that way. And we're probably, I suspect tomorrow we may actually have some sap flowing, so that may be another video or two. I'll show you the operation in our little boiler and stuff like that. Okay, so basically this is tree number 17. I'll do 3 more in this area. So basically the procedure is being to write the number on the tag, on the flagging tape, and then take a measurement, write it down, and I'll make a few notes as to if there's something notable about the condition of the tree, or if it's in a clump of a bunch of them or whatever. I'm doing circumference just because it's, for me, it's the easiest way to do it rather than diameter. And I'm also doing the measurements right over top of the tape so that I'll have a consistent spot to do them. Each time I come back, I'll be measuring the tree at essentially the same place. In the forestry industry, typically it's at breast height, but the problem is I'm standing on a couple of feet of snow, and in the middle of the summer, who knows how much lower I'm going to be. So at least, you know, maybe this isn't the best way to get a basal area, but that's not what I'm after. I'm just looking for how much we grow or don't grow. So this will give me a consistent measurement. So I'm standing on a little, I guess, pathway that one of the logging machines made, and kind of marks the boundary of this part of the logging job. So back in through here, it's fairly untouched, and there's still a fair bit of maple in there. So what I'm going to do is pick a few trees right along this border, so that there'll be and maybe a tree or two in, so they'll still have a little bit more light than they would have due to the clearing, but have that side still shaded. And then what I'll do then is walk further into the bush, so that we know that it's fully shaded and untouched, and mark a bunch of trees there, and we'll plot the what we've got, and in July I'll come back and revisit all these trees and see what we've got. Okay, so I finished the border area trees, and I've just sort of meandered into a deeper section that hasn't been logged, at least not in recent history. Probably we've seen areas where there's a bit of evidence of logging maybe 50 or 60 years ago, but nothing right where I'm standing, not for a long time. You can probably tell it's an awful lot thicker here than some of the other spots that I was showing you earlier. So I'll do 10 more and record all that, and I think we can call this phase of the experiment just about done. Okay, here's what we've got. So I guess I've done 40 trees. I think 19 of them were in the thin location, marked with a T on this papers. Then another, I guess, 10 or so marked with a B, meaning border area, and then the rest of them marked with a U for untouched. And yeah, I think that'll be good enough just to give us a general idea of if there's any difference between the different growing areas. Stay tuned. I'll post follow-up videos in July and November, and let you know what the results are. And if, I don't know, maybe I'll go and do a preliminary one in between just to see what's happening. And if anything interesting, I'll post the results too. But for sure, I'll do 2 more, one mid and one in the fall at the end of the growing season. All right, have fun, and thanks for watching.